Everyone, welcome to the Running with Heart podcast. It's episode 20. How has the fortnight been? It's been a fortnight since our last episode. Hope you've been active, hope you've been healthy, and hope you've been taking part in our Mission 231 challenges, the walking challenge and the skipping challenge. It's a double episode today because we missed last week, so we've got to catch up on the journey to New York as I share my journal as I prepare for the 2013 New York Marathon 8 years ago. A big moment in my running journey, and it coincides with New York City's countdown to holding the 50th anniversary of their famous New York City Marathon. We're getting closer to the date as we go through the journal. We're within 8 months of race day. So we're going to kick off with it, and then we'll talk about how the Mission 231 training is going as I prepare for the Larapinta Trail, the Sonder Monster in 2022. That's a mission I'm on right now, getting ready to run that 231 kilometers. Let's get into it. Monday, the 4th of March 2013, the road ahead. It is 8 months to the New York Marathon. I can't believe how quickly the last 5 months have flown by. The training plan ahead involves the volcanic challenge in 3 weeks with a comfortable preparation for it, as I still allow my body adequate recovery after the Orange Marathon. I then plan on running a half marathon with 3 to choose from: the Bathurst Half, which is in early May, the Sydney Morning Herald Half Marathon in mid-May, or the Glowworm Half Marathon in mid-June. But that's a hard trail one, so unsure with it. The City to Surf is in August. Ideally, another half in early to mid-September before the final month of preparation for New York City on November the 3rd. Very exciting, just thinking about it. We jump ahead to the 16th of April, Tuesday the 16th of April 2013. And this is 6 months out, less than 6 months to the New York City Marathon, and it was a sad day in the running world across the globe, particularly in America. Greeted today with the horrific news that the Boston Marathon had been bombed. 2 bombs had gone off near the finish line, 15 seconds apart. The explosions occurred around the 4-hour mark of the race. Early reports say that 3 have died and over 100 are injured. 25 people have lost body parts. It's horrific. My heart breaks. They're talking terrorism, but no one really knows. Will they ever? The coverage is all over the stations here. Being near the finish line, there is footage of the explosion. I'll never forget the sight of a runner being knocked over by the blast. The bombs went off in the crowd. Reports say no runners were hurt, only spectators. I think ahead to New York. So many people showed concern for me going to New York. A couple feared I was in Boston. I appreciate the concerns, but our immediate thoughts have to be with the people of Boston. Our extended running family, my heart breaks for them, that they're all suffering. As a runner, you relate to other runners and their supporters. A sad story emerges of an 8-year-old boy who has lost their life. He was watching his dad run the marathon and had just hugged him before the bomb went off. A very sad day for running and the world in general. I remember that day clearly, and even the days after that, obviously, as it took over the news headlines, I guess. And of course, as I mentioned there, the discussions that were here in Portland with people stopping me, people coming to the gym and knocking on the door and asking if I was still going to run New York. And I guess even though, that fear factor rose, it brought back, memories in a way of September 11, how that dominated the news and changed the world. And the fact that, this was Boston in America. We're due to go to New York 6 months later and I'd be running the marathon. Even though that fear factor rose, there was never any question still about not going. I felt this is what God was calling me towards, the New York Marathon, and doing it for the Heart Foundation, obviously. So the commitment was there with them. Friday the 19th of April 2013. Working hard this week to get all the runs completed, something I haven't done since the Orange Marathon, which was in early March. Today was down for 3 by 800 metres at the Oval. I was putting in a full day at the gym, so I had to do it in the middle of the day on an empty stomach. The wind was freezing and my stomach had been unsettled during the morning. Even when I was taking my tracksuit pants off, I still didn't feel like it. I kept thinking about how I had to get some consistency back into my runs and how I needed to get the full week of runs in. I set off on my first 800 metres. 200 metres in, I still didn't feel like it. That's the run. I pushed on. The wind was strong. My ears burnt. My head killed. Each interval was hard, but I pushed on, determined. Pleased with my times, pleased when it was over. On the last 200 metres of the final 800 metres, with the cold wind blowing, I pictured running through Central Park towards the finish line. That mental picture helped big time. And it's always been something I've been a part of my training is the visualization, taking time each week when I do a long period of stretching to lie there afterwards with the eyes closed and picture the race that I'm preparing for, the event I'm preparing for. So obviously back then it was picturing, because the New York City Marathon finishes in Central Park. You run into it from Fifth Avenue. Through it, you come out near the Plaza Hotel and then back in near Columbus Circle. And then you've got about half a mile, I think, or maybe a mile to finish in Central Park. So I'd visualize it. I'd looked up photos, obviously, on the net and on the New York Marathon website. And I'd lie there and visualize it. And obviously I did that in training as well. At the moment now, with my preparation for Mission 231 and the Sonder Monster, the 231 kilometres on the Larapinta next May, that's what I'm doing, my stretching, my visualization. I'm lying there, eyes closed, picturing the trail, picturing what it might feel like at certain points, the hard points, how I'm going to push on, how I'm going to feel strong, and then picture that finish line, crossing over it, completing the mission successfully. Jumping ahead to Thursday the 25th of April 2013, it's the official day that I reach my target for the New York Marathon. 6 months, 8 days out from race day. I'm so excited and thrilled. From the boxing class tonight, I raised $59.50. That took my official total to $7,500.40. I can't believe I've reached the target already. When I first took on this mission, it was like I thought I can only try. If I can't raise $7,500, it wasn't meant to be. With so many fundraisers still planned, it gives me great opportunity to raise over $10,000 for the Heart Foundation. So as a runner for the Heart Foundation in supporting them for the New York Marathon, the minimum you had to raise was $7,500. If you didn't raise that, you either had to put the rest in yourself to get to that amount, or you basically missed out on the trip. Or not the trip, you had to pay for the trip yourself. So you missed out on the opportunity to run the marathon. So to get it so far out, it shows the generosity of Portland and the surrounding communities. It was just awesome to get over that so far out. Really, really good. The 20th, we follow on. An amazing day today and a huge step on my New York Marathon journey. Over the past 4 weeks, the Portland Quilters have been selling raffle tickets for a quilt that they have made and donated for the Heart Foundation. Today was a day for the raffle draw. They invited me across to the quilting room to present me with the money they have raised. The amount and ticket selling success has been kept secret from me. The ladies have always said they wanted to surprise me at the end, and surprise me they did. Portland Quilters presented me with $2,950. I was speechless and nearly fell over. I would have been rapt if they told me $1,000, even $500, but $2,950 blew me away. It rockets my fundraising tally. I attended the draw with the raffle, which was won by Patricia Walsh. I then tagged along with the Portland Quilters ladies to make the presentation. Mrs. Walsh was very emotional, never had won anything. I thanked her for her support and her best wishes. It was a fantastic day. Friday, 3rd of May 2013. Despite a long morning at work and time restraints, I dragged myself down into the common to again run my dreaded 230-metre hill with 6 repeats. I really wanted to get the session in while the pain of last week still fresh in my mind. It's a great way to make me stronger mentally. Making the session even harder was the fact that I'd done my plyo sessions and some leg weights during the morning. My goal was to keep each repeat under a minute 30. I kept all under a minute 26 and ran my fastest a minute 22 on the last one. I received an email today from Travelling Fit informing us that there are quarter specials available at the moment for departure in October. They're valid for a week or so. We then jump ahead to the 7th of May. The Portland Central School principal calls into the gym, firstly to see if I'm still running New York following the Boston bombings. The talk of Boston obviously went on for weeks. It was still in the news, obviously fresh in everyone's mind. And I guess probably more so because I knew there was a local, a Portland person heading to the States to run a marathon, and the bombings obviously had happened at the Boston Marathon in April. So the principal calls in to see if I'm still going to New York. He's pleased I still am. He talks to some fundraising he's doing with the kids, basketball shooting. He believes the fundraising activities should be along the fitness and health lines, as that's what I'm all about. I agree wholeheartedly. I again talk of my plans to come to the school and spend 30 to 40 minutes doing fitness activities with the younger kids. I then talk of my idea of doing a presentation with the older kids, the secondary kids, on my journey, goal setting and motivation. The principal's all for it. He invites me along to the school cross country on Friday to run with the school. I currently have a PT session on when the cross country is run. I'd like to work something out, as I have that feeling that I'm meant to be at this cross country. It's an important moment in my journey. I'm not sure how or why, but just have that feeling that you got sometimes when you got to be somewhere at a certain time. Friday the 10th of May, I attend the Portland Central School cross country. It was a fantastic experience. So enjoyable, so much fun, and so rewarding. This is why I run. I mingle with a couple of the older boys I know before the start. One of them I know has gone off the rails over the past 12 months. They're thrilled I'm running today. I talk about New York and how you never know where running can take you. The one who's had a rough time is excited about that thought. I tell them I'd like to do some running training with them to help them progress through the levels of cross country. The cross country course starts opposite the Coro and heads out around the quarry via High Street and finishes at Kramer Park via Kiln Street. The course is approximately 4.5 kilometres. Everyone from Year 2 to Year 12 are running. I started with the front runners and then jogged back to join some new runners or walkers to motivate them along. This is how I covered the course. I'd run with a few people for a short distance, then drop back to a new group to run with them. I then jogged forward when I'd see an early runner walking and give them a push along. I really enjoyed running with the younger kids, infants and primary. Then I'd run someone to the finish line and then go back 200 metres to motivate the next group to the finish line. I lost count how many times I ran the final 200 metres. It was great to see some of the younger kids that were walking jog over that final 200 metres to cross the finish line. All up, I ended up running 9 kilometres. The guy I mentioned earlier, who's had a hard time lately, won the day and even joined in running back along the course to motivate some friends or maybe some family to the finish line. After today, I would really like to get a group of kids together to be part of a journey to the Gold Coast Half Marathon or something similar. It could follow a similar path to Rob De Castella's Indigenous Marathon project. The guy who won today could be a great candidate for such a cause. And I guess with the school cross country, no matter what school it is, that I go and run the cross country with the kids, it's I guess my way of giving back. Like cross country to me, as I've spoken about numerous times on the podcast, has been it's words can't do it justice what part it's played in my life. And I wouldn't be where I am today. My love for it wouldn't be there if it wasn't for my cross country teacher, my primary teacher back in Mathara Public School, Mr. Dankett. That's where I fell in love with running, and that's where it's grown. That was the planting of the seed. And then throughout the years, it's obviously been watered and nurtured, and the growth has happened, and it takes me to where I am right now, doing a podcast of all things, talking about running, talking about my running journey, and talking about training and preparing to run 231 kilometres. But it's great to give back and just see the look on the kids' faces as they cross the finish line. It's such an achievement. Running is such an achievement. Racing is such an achievement, no matter what distance you're running, whether it's a 100 metre sprint to a marathon, to an ultra marathon, and everywhere in between. It's just that achievement to complete the race, to complete the event and cross that finish line. Really rewarding. Thursday the 16th of May, on the training front, today I did a double run. Early in the morning, 5:45 a.m, I completed a treadmill speed session of 5 by 800 metres. The first few were hard, but I got more into the groove the more I did. I then went out for a 10-kilometre easy pace run around midday. The legs were a bit heavy for this run following the speed session and the plyos last night. It was good though. I need to do more double ups as the marathon gets closer. It's a good way to get the legs accustomed to running heavy. The weather was also against me. A freezing cold day, maybe 10 to 12 degrees. That sounds warm. And the rain that had stopped for me to start running blew in again about 4 kilometres into the run. I was drenched and cold, but looking for the positive in every situation. I thought this is what I've got to get used to to train in, as it's pretty high chance that it'll be exactly what the weather will be like on marathon day in New York. My gut feeling at this early stage is it will be cold and wet. I think usually the temperature is around 9 to 11 degrees, so with a Portland winter to train through, I should have good preparation. It should keep me motivated at least on the cold, wet days to get out there and get the run done. So New York Marathon time, it's coming to their fall. So yeah, coming to their winter. Sunday the 19th of May, down for a 17-kilometre run today and the last required run of the week to tick all the running boxes. However, unlike me, I didn't feel like it. I had a lot to do, so time was a factor, but I just didn't feel like a 17-kilometre run. Decided I would do a 10-kilometre, incorporating the first 2 kilometres with Tabitha's training run. It was a part of this run that Tabitha said something that made me realise I had to do 17 kilometres regardless of how I felt or what time restraints I had. Tabitha asked how far I was going, to which I explained I was meant to do 17 kilometres, but due to time I would only do 10 kilometres, as that would take an hour. Tabitha said if I sprinted it, I could fit it in. I laughed. She then asked if there were people who sprinted the whole marathon. I replied, yeah, there is, to which Tabitha responded, wow, they must train really hard. And that was it. 6 innocent words from my 9-year-old daughter. I don't get to choose which training runs I do or don't do depending on time, feelings, weather, etc. I just have to do them if I want to be the best runner I can be. I'm not just going to the New York City Marathon. I'm running for the Heart Foundation, Australia, my family, Portland, and all the surrounding communities and all those affected by heart disease. I need to be at my best, and the only way to do that is to train my best and do every possible session I can, no excuses. So after dropping Tabitha at home, I turned and headed north. The road leads behind the quarry and joins up to Cullen Road. I turned left here, turning away from the town. I figured I had to be on a road where there was no option for a shorter route home. I kept running till I was 7 kilometres from home, which was 10 kilometres into my run. I then turned and headed home, clocking 17.2 kilometres on my return. Satisfied. Thanks, Tabitha. And then I've got a running note. Took a photo of a black snake that I nearly stepped on. Freezing day, was not expecting it. I think it was asleep, thank goodness. So, I've spoken about it before in the podcast when I make a commitment for an event, for a charity like the Heart Foundation. I want to be at my best. And I'll do everything I possibly can to do the work and the training I need to do to make sure that I am at my best. And I go into the race or the event in the best possible position to complete it to the best of my ability. I'm not just going to the Sonder Monster to be a number. As I've mentioned, this year, I believe 15 people started the 231 kilometre journey, the race, and only 3 finished. The first year they held it, 3 finished. I don't want to be a not finisher. I want to finish. And so, again, there can be no excuses with my training. Yes, I have to listen to my body. I have to rest when my body says rest. But all the training sessions that I can physically do have to be done to make sure I'm in the best possible prep, and that I'm best possibly prepared I can be to do the Sonder Monster. A busy time on the fundraising front as we prepare to hold a book fair on Saturday. We've received hundreds of generous donations from the community in the form of books, so now it's about getting the word out there that the fair is on. This morning I arranged for an ad to be placed in the classified section of the Lithgow Mercury. I also arranged for the book fair to be announced as a community announcement on the local radio station. Thursday the 23rd of May 2013. When you have a chance to run, you should just do it. Get out there and run. I had the opportunity on Monday and had planned it too, but when it came to time, I decided I didn't have time. Being Monday, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that there is still 5 days after Monday, excluding rest day on Saturday, to fit the runs in. But really, you are best to squeeze the run in so pressure is taken off for the rest of the week. As the week panned out, by today I need to do my hill session, a 10 kilometre easy and a 20 kilometre long run in 3 days with a rest day on Saturday. However, things don't go always to plan, and I found my patience tested. My plan was to run as soon as I came home from the gentle class at Willerowang. However, I looked at my list of things to do for the business and the book fair and decided I should do some of it first. The list grew and suddenly I'd missed my opportunity to run. very frustrating. It's all about organisation, being organised, having it all set out, so you know when you're fitting the runs in. We had a talk recently at Ant Fitness, or a few months ago now. It was before COVID, the second COVID lockdown, by Richard Bowles, an ultra marathon and an adventurer, and he talked about the importance when you've set your mind to something. So you've got your why you're doing an event. To make it succeed, you've got to have routine, and you've got to get the things you need to get done to succeed at the start of the day, because then it's done. You're not wasting mental energy during the day trying to work out where you're going to fit it in. So if I'm down for a 15-kilometre run, let's say tomorrow, I put it in first thing in the morning. I get up and I do it, and it's done. If I don't do it first thing in the morning, comes to 10 o'clock, I'm like, okay, I've got to mow the lawn. That's right, I've got to do that 15-kilometre run. Where am I going to fit that in? So you dwell on that. You go mow the lawn, and then like, oh, well, I've got to do this. I've got to do some business work. I've got to do that 15-kilometre run. Should I fit that in at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock? And then you do something else. Well, I do it at 5. And so you're constantly thinking about it during the day, where if you get up and do it at 6 o'clock in the morning, it's done. And you can get on with your day. Real good lesson that Richard Bowles taught the Hillbilly Running Group when he came, or we did it via Zoom because of, I think there were restrictions in place at the time. But you can look at Richard Bowles up on Instagram and follow him. Saturday the 25th of June, the book fair was held today for the Heart Foundation. It was a success. We raised $350. Amazingly, we still have 1,000 books left over. The generosity of the community donating the books was just, again, beyond belief. We cleared the gym of equipment to the sides, and it was full of books on the tables and benches and whatever else we could find. But yeah, massive success. I didn't realise we had collected so many through donations. We were selling them for $1 each, unless they were hardcover or some sort of special book. Then the price ranged from $2 to $5. We held the fair between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. It was busy for the first 2 hours and slowly died through as the day went longer. My fundraising is now nearly at $8,000. And then I've got an after note. We sold another $50 worth of books after Monday night's class. Sunday the 26th of June. Today was the annual Portland to Wayne Cancer Walk. This year it was Wayne to Portland direction. For the first time we did the journey as a family. After walking the first kilometre, we set out at a jog. Winston at the front, Monique behind him, Dalton floating somewhere between Monique and Tabitha and myself, who completed the 11-kilometre course through the jogging-walking intervals. On completion of the walk, I then turned around and ran back to Wayne to complete my long run for the week as part of my New York Marathon training. On my return trip, after I passed the walking crowds coming to Portland, I had a chance for some reflection on how far I've come as a runner, and I guess as a person in 12 months. It was this same walk last year I was training for the Gold Coast Marathon. I ran the 11 kilometres 3 times, tearing my left calf around 7 kilometres from the finish. This year I feel so much fitter and stronger within myself, and maybe more importantly, more in tune with my body, knowing when enough is enough. Last year when I was preparing for my first marathon, this year I'm well into training for the New York City Marathon, and have raised over $7,500 for the Heart Foundation in the process, all in 12 months. Later that night, while watching the movie Cliffy, Monique and myself started discussing and brainstorming ideas for the trivia night that we're holding in 4 weeks. We came up with ideas for different categories, end of round games and prize baskets. It's a good start. I'm sure the next 4 weeks are going to go quickly. Time always flies quickly, especially when you're preparing something. Wednesday the 29th of May. Today's the official marathon opening day in New York. It's a day when preparation begins towards Marathon Day on November the 3rd. It begins with a lotto draw for spots in this year's marathon. Looking at the website, it's exciting seeing the Marathon Week's activities planned. With a countdown officially on, it makes it all the more exciting. So it's still starting to become really real as we build towards it. The marathon's on the Sunday, the first Sunday in November, but they have a week of activities planned. They have tours around the course via bus. They have some like social dinners, some social runs. I think there's a race, a 5K race, maybe the week before. There's the 5K dash to the finish the day before the marathon. They have the opening ceremony on the Friday night. So they really make it a huge week in the city that never sleeps. Wednesday the 12th of June. My first day of fitness in schools today is part of my Heart Foundation fundraising. It was at St. Joseph's, which is where Winston and Tabitha go. Included all the children from kinder to year 6. For today, that meant 47 kids over 80 minutes. I held 3 separate sessions. Kinder to year 1 for 20 minutes, and they had a farmyard theme where we were a farmer for a day, or 20 minutes, and completed activities on the farm such as picking apples, milking cows, then a game of cat and mouse and an egg collection, egg and spoon race, and haystacks, which is like leapfrog. Years 2 and 3, Tabitha's class, they had a healthy eating theme, and activities included farmers coming, putting a twist on captain's coming, tunnel ball, which represented blood flowing with the tunnels. The blood flow was represented by the tunnels in tunnel ball and the arteries to the heart. Good education tips there, and finished with fruit salad. Years 4 to 6, which is Winston's class, we did some boxing. It's great to see all the kids having so much fun participating. All the activities were simple yet so effective. There's no excuse why children of today can't be active. Hopefully through my presence in the schools, they can help change at least one child's life. It was a very rewarding session. This is what being an ambassador for the Heart Foundation is all about. This is why I'm on this journey. It's the opportunity it provides to make a difference, to help change people's lives. Thursday the 13th of June, busy, busy, busy. I always knew it would be a major job to train for New York, fundraise for New York, and run the business all at the same time. That's not forgetting life as well, being a decent husband and father. There's always so much to do and never enough time to do it. Prioritization and organization, so very important. I still haven't got letters out. I still need to do an article for the paper. There's still no community announcement on the radio. But I did get the trivia night ads faxed to the schools for the newsletters. Numbers for the night are slowly climbing. I would like around 50. At this stage, we're probably in the mid-20s. Sunday the 16th of June, the last day of my training today before a 2-week break. I need the break in so many ways. Firstly, some rest and recovery time for my body before I up the training intensity leading into the final 18 weeks before New York. Secondly, a chance to catch up on the business and family life around the house. So much needs doing in both areas. Thirdly, to have some time to get the trivia fundraising night organised. It's so hard juggling everything, and you're trying to be the best you can be at everything, with at the same time not neglecting any of it, whether it be the training for Mission 231 right now, neglecting family, my wife, my kids, my parents, my siblings, the list goes on, and then of course my business and my all-important clients. So it really is a juggling act. And I'll be honest, with Mission 231, I have good weeks and I have good days. And I guess one thing I'm really trying to work on is being kind to myself. It's something I tend to talk about and preach as trainer with Ant Fitness and Running with Heart and Heart Foundation Ambassador. Not being hard on myself, not beating myself up. And I don't always succeed. I do find days when I am hard on myself that, I didn't make that phone call to a family member, or I didn't get something done for a client, or I didn't get the training session in, or I didn't do something to promote fundraising for the Heart Foundation. It's a tough gig, it really is. In a perfect world, everything would fall into place easily and just how we'd like, but it doesn't happen that way. I guess that's what makes life exciting, and I guess it's what makes it all so more important. And I'm blessed to have supportive family in my wife and my kids. So thank you, Monique, Dalton, Winston, Tabitha. Supportive extended family on both sides, my side and Monique's side. Friends, mates, and then obviously my Ant Fitness clients, and then the community in general. So they talk about running being an individual sport compared to a team sport of football and soccer and cricket. But behind that lone runner you see out there a lot of the time training, there's always a team behind them in the background. It's like, I guess you can compare it to a movie. You sit down to watch the movie on the big screen and you see the actors who steal the show, I guess. But without everyone in the background, the crew, the movie doesn't take place. And it's the same for myself as a runner preparing for Mission 231. So from my heart to everyone listening and watching, thank you for your patience and putting up with all my juggling at the moment. Try not to let any of you down. So we're talking about needing the break to increase intensity, and then we jump to the 18th of June. Today I received a phone call from Red Kelly's Cafe. He's donating vouchers to the prize baskets. He then spoke to me about the New York Marathon and when I'm due to fly out. He's offered to sponsor my running shoes for the race. I was touched. Such a generous offer. When you get support like this, it's really motivating. It really helps make all the long runs and sacrifices worthwhile. Not only are you running for such a worthwhile cause, but for so many people in the community itself who have taken the time and offered their money in support of your running and your cause. And it's so true again with Mission 23 Run these days. And reflecting on New York, it's good for me because it shows me how far I've come as a person, as a runner. But Mission 231, I guess, is an extended version of New York. It's the next level up, so to speak. It's on a bigger scale. And that's why I've set my fundraising target higher as well. And it's when you get the donations, and it doesn't matter if the donation's $5 or $50 or $1,000. I'm truly thankful for every single one. And it also does, those $5 donations give me as much motivation as the $1,000 donations when I'm doing it tough on a long run, when the legs are heavy or the mind's not in the game. It's knowing that people have your back and are supporting and showing that they believe in what you're doing and believe in me, I guess, to an extent. That motivates me along. So again, thank you everyone for that support. Saturday the 22nd of June, the day started at 6:30 so I could finish off the questions for tonight's trivia. Then we were off in the car to Orange for Winston's football, lunch with my parents, and a visit to Nana and prize shopping in Bathurst. We arrived home at 5:30 to get out of the car, pack it, and be down at the RSL 5 minutes later to set up the night due to start at 7. Surprisingly, we did it. By the time 7 o'clock came around, we were ready to go. It was a great roll-up, great night, and lots of fun. We had 4 prize baskets on offer: fitness, health, beauty, Go Red for women, entertainment, and trash and treasure. Lots of laughs, and we had games at the end of the night that were suggested by some people who took part. So bonus games. This raised another $90. All up, we raised $706 for the Heart Foundation. So really, really good. And again, it's all the little fundraising events you do that add up. So I look at my target of $23,100 for the Heart Foundation for Mission 231, and it's a big target, but it's one I'm confident I can receive. One, because of the generosity of the community and the surrounding communities, but also it's the smaller fundraising events that help you get there. It's all the little steps put together that help the journey in total. So we're trying to do fundraising events this time that, yes, people can have fun with and take part in, but are going to help change people's lives. They're going to bring that activity to people's lives so we can make a difference to health at the same time as raising money and awareness for the Heart Foundation. That's really important to me this time. And so at the moment, we've got the skipping and the walking happening in that regard. And then the big one, which is one of the major events, is the kilometre dedications. All the information is in the show notes. Sunday the 30th of June, it's been a year since I ran my first marathon on the Gold Coast. It's now 18 weeks to the New York Marathon. I think if I'd been told where I crossed the finish line last year on the Gold Coast, that in 12 months I'd be 18 weeks away from the start of the New York Marathon, I would have laughed. If I had also been told that I would have also raised over $9,000 for the Heart Foundation, I would have laughed even more. At the time, I was trying to raise $1,200 for the Heart Foundation as part of my gold charity run in City of Surf. 6 weeks out from race day, I still wasn't at $1,000. And it was through the Gold Coast Marathon kilometre dedications that helped me make a big jump in that direction. Now here I am, 12 months on, preparing for New York and really enjoying running lots for the Heart Foundation. And again, it's the same thing, I guess, and it's all part of the journey. We all have our own journey in different ways, whether it's through family, whether it's through work, whether it's through sport, other exercise. We all have a journey that we're on. That it's only, I guess, when you stop and reflect like I am in sharing this journal for this podcast, when you look back on it and go, I've come a long way. And again, if you told me back in 2013 when I ran New York that in 3 years' time I'd be running a 250 kilometre event, over 5 days in the desert, 6 days, sorry, in the desert, I would have laughed. And if you told me at the end of the Big Red Run, at such event, in 2016, that in 5 years' time you'll be in training to run 231 kilometres in one go, I would have laughed. So we don't always see it at the time, the journey we're on. We sort of know we would like it to head, but we really have no idea where it's going and what we're actually capable of. I think back to the City Surf days, where my early City Surf days, where 14 kilometres was so hard. Even 10 kilometre races that I used to do in Orange and Mudgee, like, they were hard. And here I am at the moment, feeling good with my training towards 231. So it's all, you can't question it as you're on the journey. You got to trust and have faith, and I have trust and faith in God, in his direction and where he's leading me, and you move forward with that as you go towards your goals. Everyone, it's a drink break, or as we say in the running world, the ultra running world, a gel break, a fuel stop. Hit the pause button, grab yourself something to eat, go for a walk even if you want, grab a drink, and then we're going to come back for part 2 of this extended version of the Running with Heart podcast as we count down to New York this year, celebrating its 50th anniversary, but counting down as I reflect on my journal back in 2013, towards when I got privileged to run the New York Marathon for the Heart Foundation, and really set me up for where I am right now, training and preparing for the Sonder Monster 231 kilometres in the Australian Outback in May 2022. See you shortly. Drink break is over, everyone. For those watching on YouTube, you can see the bottle I'm drinking from, an empty Gatorade bottle. I don't know if you can read it on there. Those listening on Spotify, of course, the podcast is available on Spotify or YouTube. So what I'm doing at the moment with my drink bottles that I'm filling with water, I'm actually writing on them stages from the Larapinta course to help mentally, I guess, prepare for the race next year, but also when out on the course, you know what's coming up. So this one I'm drinking from is early on in the race. It's a Rocky Bar Gap checkpoint at 25 kilometres. So that's the first major checkpoint on the Larapinta Trail for the Sonder Monster. I've got a bottle before that, the 7.5 kilometre mark, which is Mount Sonder, the top of the mountain. That's where you start straight up it. And so it's a point of interest. And then, yeah, you got the Rocky Bar Gap checkpoint at 25 kilometres. So at the moment, I've got 4 or 5 bottles in action that have the different checkpoints and points of interest on. It lets me know on them whether it's just a water station or whether it's a manned checkpoint. But yeah, so Rocky Bar Gap 25 kilometre checkpoint is what I'm drinking from at the moment as I prepare for the Sonder Monster. Everyone, welcome to the second half of our extended version of the Running with Heart podcast. We're in the final months of my preparation, looking back at my preparation for the New York Marathon in 2013 and finding a really good chance to reflect and see what things I had in place in training and fundraising at the time for New York, and how it compares to now as I prepare for the Sonder Monster, the 231 kilometres of the Larapinta Trail in May next year, part of the West Max Monster Running Festival, and I'm doing it for the Heart Foundation of Australia. Friday the 5th of July, with the issue of Runner's World I'm currently reading, there's a lot I would like to bring into my training program to assist with a stronger marathon performance. They're not your physical running sessions though. One is breathing and the other is visualization. I need to work on the complete package, have all the boxes checked, so to speak, to be fully prepared. I've run 2 marathons previously, and my second in Orange this year was definitely better than my first. But New York is so important. I'm not running it for me. I'm running it for the Heart Foundation, for all the people who have donated to the cause, and for all those affected by heart disease. I would trade both my previous good marathon runs in just for a good New York run. I want to be fully prepared. I don't want to be able to say afterwards, well, perhaps if I'd done that in my training, or I should have worked on that more. It's all about the foundation and the preparation. So far, I've built a really good foundation. Now it's about a good 17-week preparation for the race itself. Then we skip ahead. Friday the 12th of July, battling the mind games, and you have this regardless of what you're preparing for. It's part of life. It's part of human nature. It's how you deal with it to conquer those mind games. The mind game started from the moment I got out of bed. Two voices inside my head, one trying to convince me not to run 18 kilometers today, and the other telling me I've got to do it. The battle of the minds continued all morning at the gym, and I knew it was crucial that I got home by 12 p.m. Otherwise, the negative mindset would gain momentum with less time available to complete a 90-minute run. I found, though, even by being home by 12, the mind games continued. On one hand, I was being told I was too tired, felt too fatigued to consider running, especially 18 kilometers. Not enough time either, the voice continued. Lunch, when are you going to eat? Miss this run. It's only one run. There's still 16 weeks to go. Meanwhile, my positive voice reinforced the foundation I've spent time building and how consistently my weekly kilometers have been above 30 to 40 kilometers. If I don't run today, I risk my weekly total being 16 kilometers. Marathoners don't run 16-kilometer weeks. My positive voice reminded me how dirty I'd be on myself afterwards for missing the run. It took a while, but finally the positive voice won. After getting changed and listening to Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run about chasing an American dream, I headed out the door just after 12:45, weighing bound. I felt great running, really comfortable, which sounds really weird considering the battle that had raged in my mind since my alarm sounded at 5 a.m. But that's why it's important to stay strong and fight the negativity with the positive. Hear the correct voice. I believe it's Satan's attempt to sabotage my New York Marathon preparation and my work for the Heart Foundation. Now I talk about my pace, and it went well. Bit of a headwind. Sunday the 21st of July, it's been a great week training wise. My first run of the week was on Tuesday as I visited an old running ground over Garland's Hill. It's been at least 12 months since I've done the 10-kilometre trek over the top and down to Sunny Corner Road. I was keen to see how I found it with all the running I've been doing. The thought of it this year wasn't daunting as it has been in previous years. The run itself was excellent. I exceeded my expectations. I was hoping to run 5-minute per kilometre pace, and I actually nailed 4:53. I was able to pick up some speed heading up Garland's Peak. Legs felt great, and after the run, I didn't feel as if I'd run Garland's at all. I remember in the past, after doing a run over Garland's Hill, you feel it for the remainder of the afternoon. Not this time. Very pleasing. My training is working. Always good when you see it working. Now I talk about some of the other runs I did that week. And then Monday the 29th of July, another week is gone. Time is going by so quickly. It's now 14 weeks to marathon day. Training wise, it's been a pretty good week. I did a speed session. I did miss my speed session, but my 3 other runs were good quality runs, and I still clocked over 40 kilometers for the week. So it's all about fitting it into busyness. And then we've got money coming in, fundraising still. Tuesday the 30th of July. I have moments when I start thinking about the New York Marathon, mainly the start. Things like getting to the hotel to catch the bus trip to the start line, standing around on Staten Island waiting for the starting corrals, thinking of Monique and the kids waiting over in Central Park as I view the Manhattan skyline from the starting position. It's these moments when I think of things out of my control, situations I haven't experienced before, where I find myself going off into a daydream as such. I guess it's like a panic attack or a blackout as I start thinking about one thing, for example, the hotel, and that will lead to another and another. Then I'll suddenly realize and come back to reality or the moment. I'm not sure how long I think about them for. It feels like a couple of minutes, but in reality, it may only be 20 to 30 seconds. So yeah, you do start to think ahead, and you start to think about things that can go wrong, but it's so important, as I mentioned just a short time ago, to replace those negative thoughts with the positive ones. Really important. Thursday, the 1st of August, this week my long run is up to 25 kilometres. I wanted to fit it in today, but not sure how I was going to with the time constraints and the fact that I had no energy gels, only honey sachets. My dilemma was solved, however, when my early morning PT cancelled. I quickly changed into my running gear and ran 10 kilometres in 3-degree conditions. It was so cold, my hands were freezing. I kept my average pace at 4:57s, 3 seconds in front of goal pace, without looking at my watch once. After doing 2 morning classes, I then headed out for a 15-kilometre run. This run I did as an out and in run along Cullen Road. I decided that as I was doing my long run as a split run, I would run the last 5 kilometres of my 15 kilometres as a tempo with a goal of 4:25s. It's important when you have the time constraints, you look at how you can fit the runs in. It's not ideal to split a long run up, but it doesn't hurt, especially if you're not doing it all the time. It's just a casual thing. It's better to split the run up to fit it in before work or after work and in the middle of the day than go, I can't fit it in today. Definitely better than missing out altogether. And then we progressed through August, and I remember I was doing the Mudgee Half Marathon in preparation for New York. But before that, I got invited to the Portland Central School Assembly on the 15th of August. I was presented with a cheque for $300. It's from the proceeds they raised from raffling off the prize they won at the trivia night. I even said a few words to the school assembly, so unlike me. I used to not like getting up in front of a class, let alone an assembly. The $300 cheque plus $140 raised from the Sitters Surf Kilometre dedications takes my fundraising tally to $10,710. I'm currently the highest fundraiser for the Heart Foundation for the New York Marathon. Fundraising isn't a competition, but I'm very proud to be the highest fundraiser at the moment. And so then we lead into the Mudgee Half Marathon, which is my final race, I guess, training race before New York. 25th of August, took part in the Mudgee Half Marathon today. A 7 a.m. start, freezing with a minus 2 degree temperature. I actually started with my running beanie and gloves on and kept them on until 10 kilometres. The Mudgee Half was my 4th half marathon, but only the second I've run properly. By that I mean I ran my first half on the Gold Coast in 2010. I've also run with clients. So it's been 3 years since I've run a half properly. A goal I set at the start of the year was to achieve a sub 90 minute time for the half by September. Mudgee provided that opportunity. 3 years ago on the Gold Coast, I ran a time of 1:34:03. The Mudgee Half would also provide an indication as to where I'm at with my marathon training. I feel confident going into the race. With my Garmin set at a pace of 4:17 per kilometre, I head out fast with the lead pack. Perhaps too fast. I'm running at 3:40 pace, so I back off to 4 minute per kilometre pace and feel comfortable. I enjoy the early kilometres. Rhythm is good. I feel comfortable and my pace is within goal. At 6 kilometres, I get this sudden sharp stabbing pain in my upper back. It's on my left side below my shoulder blade. It feels like I've been shot, and I consider that for a moment. The pain is so sharp and bad. Heart attack is a second thought. I slow the pace just slightly as I reassess my stride, technique and body. All's good except for the pain. I limit my arm swing and push on imagining it's New York. I'm not pulling out 6 kilometres into the race. The run continues and I'm feeling confident of a top 10 finish as I down a gel at 45 minutes, sitting in 13th position. Then we hit some rolling hills around 14 kilometres and I make my move up into 9th. I can see the 7th and 8th ahead, about a kilometre in front, and I know I'm about to get them. I'm running well and full of confidence. As I passed 18 kilometres, I remember how I felt at the Gold Coast at the same point. The last 3 kilometres seemed to take forever. It was really tough going. Not today. My running has come so far since then. I've improved so much and learnt so much too. I'm a different runner. I guess too, having 2 marathons under my belt makes it different when mentally approaching 21 kilometres. So in today's race, as I enter the final 3 kilometres, it's not about wishing the finish line would hurry up, but it's about remaining focused on my racing strategy and pace, remaining focused on the 2 runners in front of me that I am slowly reeling in. As I approach the final kilometre, I pass the first one. I'm now in 8th. I think of all the years in school that I needed to finish in the top 8 to make it to state cross country, and it took to year 12 to do this. I'm not losing a top 8 position today. We run into Lawson Park and I know the finish is now less than 500 metres away. I continue running strong, and as I high-five Tabitha, Ali and Dave, I overtake the other runner to move into 7th as I round the final bend. I sprint to the finish as I wave to Monique and she snaps a photo and I cross the finish line. 1 hour, 27 minutes and 3 seconds. I've smashed my half marathon PB by 7 minutes. Better still, like the Sitter Surf, I feel I could keep running. That's the feeling I'm after. My training is on track. There is 10 weeks to Marathon Day in New York and I'm pleased with my progress. 6.5 hours later, after finishing the half and back in Portland, I head out for a 9 kilometre run to give me 30 kilometres for the day. I'm very pleased. That was really good. The half marathon in Mudgee, really, really good. A good confidence booster leading into New York Marathon, just a couple of months away. Unfortunately, after that, I actually get sick. I develop a cough, which hinders my long runs for quite a while. And I start to get a bit, not panicky, but frustrated by it, feeling that I'm losing what I've worked so hard to gain towards New York. So, yeah, not good. And then we lead into September. Monique, this is the 4th of September. Monique has spent a lot of time over the past few days finalising certificates for the marathon miles. We arranged the window display and I'm pleased with the final look. Even more pleasing was selling the first mile in the afternoon. I'm so grateful for all of Monique's help and support. I can never put into words how truly thankful I am. Each mile costs $50. For the dedicated mile, you get a certificate with a photo and description of the mile, a photo of your loved one on the mile, and a limited edition t-shirt that has the names of all 26 people on the back that has the miles have been dedicated to. And of course, as I run the New York Marathon, I will dedicate each mile to that person. And we're doing the same for Mission 231, 231 kilometres in the desert, in the Outback, the Australian Outback, May next year. We can dedicate a kilometre. It doesn't have to be someone who's suffered or is suffering from heart disease. It can just be someone who means a lot to you, a friend, a family member, someone you love, your way of showing that love. The kilometre costs $50. You get a certificate to say which kilometre you have dedicated in the Sonder Monster. And you have the opportunity to put the person's photo on it. And you get to keep that as your memento. And then when I'm running the 231 kilometres next year, each of those kilometres I'll be running for the people that have had their kilometres dedicated to them. At the start of each kilometre, I'll say a prayer, I'll think of them, I'm thinking of the person who's dedicated the kilometre as well. And all that money goes towards the Heart Foundation. So it's $50 a kilometre. How to do it, how to get your kilometre is in the show notes below. The link's there as well. We've sold, I believe we've sold 7 now. So there's 224 to go. If there's a particular number you're after, get in quick. The last one is gone, I can tell you that. And kilometre 100 is gone. They're usually 2 big ones. Number 1's still there. So if you want the first kilometre, heading up Mount Sonder, it's still available at the time of recording the podcast. And I believe kilometre 200 is also there as well. So head to the fundraising page if you want to grab a kilometre for a loved one, please, and support the Heart Foundation and Mission 231. And thank you for that. Thursday, the 5th of September 2013, a package arrived for me today, and I was very excited to open it to discover it was the Heart Foundation running gear. A red Heart Foundation running hat and 2 Heart Foundation running singlets. One is embroidered with 2013 New York Marathon. I'll be so proud to wear it in the New York Marathon. Very exciting moment to get that gear. Again, making it all the more real. And then I'll talk about patience that is required in training as I develop this chesty cough that prevents me doing all the training I want to do. And you've always got to have patience as you train for an event. That includes the Sonder Monster as well. Sunday the 29th of September 2013. So we're just over a month away from the New York Marathon race day. A promising start to the day that signifies 5 weeks to race day. It's so hard to believe it's only 35 days till I run the New York City Marathon for the Heart Foundation. After coughing so much yesterday and having doubts as to whether I'd be able to complete my long run today, I wake to find I was coughing less. And for the first time in a few weeks, I could actually visualize myself completing my long run for the week. I planned a 5-kilometer loop run that I would complete 6 laps of to give me my goal of 30 kilometers. This meant I wouldn't travel too far from home in case I had a coughing fit or suddenly didn't feel well. I also decided to run my long run at 11 a.m. as this is the time it looks like I'll be starting in New York. That'd be, I no doubt, New York time, I'd imagine. I know it's different time zones, but if I can there you go, it's not. But if I can mentally prepare myself for starting at 11 a.m., that's a good step forward. Hopefully the physical side will adjust in the few days we're there beforehand. My first 5-kilometer loop involves a lot of coughing, and I started to think that I wasn't going to get more than 5 kilometers in today. Tabitha joined me for my second loop, and the slightly slower pace was enough to keep my heart rate up but ease the coughing. My third lap saw a return of the coughing, and again negative thoughts entered the mind about not being able to complete my goal distance. Winston joined me on the 4th lap, and again the coughing eased with a slightly slower pace. The legs felt really heavy and tired during this lap, and it was when I resigned myself to the fact that I would cut the run down to 25 kilometres. Doing 30 kilometres on my first long run in 3 weeks was perhaps asking too much, and I wanted to make sure I was right to build on the run next week and the week after. Dalton joined me for my 5th and final lap, and as I crossed 21.1 kilometres off, I reflected that my time was 30 minutes longer than the Mudgee half only a month ago. You have good days and bad days with running all the time. And you can't dwell on them, you just have to move on. Take the good with the bad. Saturday the 5th of October 2013, less than a month to go to the New York Marathon. Wow, this is incredible. God's blessing continues to shower upon us. I received an email from the New York Roadrunners to inform me that I've been chosen as an Australian delegate to march in the marathon's opening ceremony in representation of Australia. Wow. Monique had said nearly 12 months ago when we first heard of there was an opening ceremony that I'd get to march in it. I can't believe I've been chosen. It's strange though. Although I'm in shock, there's part of me that feels like I expected it to happen. I wrote quite a while ago that the New York mission, I had heard God's voice talking to me. And afterwards, I felt like it was similar to Paul being told by God not to fear that he would get to Rome. I know in my heart that I'm on God's mission, and New York is part of that journey. His hand of blessing is upon us and the mission, and we need to follow him forward with faith. I'm so excited about representing Australia in the opening ceremony. I have to wear something traditional or the colours of Australia. It's such a huge honour. Had the alarm set this morning for 5:45 a.m. This is the 6th of October. Being a Sunday and the first morning of daylight saving, it might have been a bit ambitious. I didn't head out for my 33-kilometre run until 12:30 p.m. By then the day was quite warm. On top of the heat and mistakes I'd already made in the lead up to the run, the long run was doomed from the outset. I just didn't realise it in my focus on getting out there to complete 33 kilometres. Firstly, I'd only consumed 600 ml water in the 24 hours leading into the run. Nowhere near enough, especially when running in the middle of the day. Pre-run breakfast was the next mistake. If I'm going to be eating an hour or so before running, I'll have a bowl of porridge and a slice of toast with jam. Today I had porridge, 2 slices of toast with Vegemite, and then despite knowing I was making a vital error, I had Weet-Bix with honey. Never do I have Weet-Bix on it as a pre-race meal. The third mistake was still going for the run, even when I was so late getting out there. By leaving at 12:30 and aiming to do 33 kilometres, it meant I would be out there for 2 hours 45, the hottest part of the day, and it was a warm day. The run started well. After 5 kilometres, I started to feel my right big toe. I've had pain under it on and off since Thursday afternoon, more noticeable on Friday. At about 8 kilometres, I started not to feel right. Tired, hot, hard focusing mentally. Then at 11 kilometres, I got a massive stitch. I tried to run through it by holding my right thumb, pushing on my right side, no good. Forced to walk. The pain was that intense I struggled just to walk. After 200 metres, I started running again. The stitch returned. After 400 metres, another 200 metre walk. Then I ran to my checkpoint at 12.5 kilometres at home. Hot, tired and bothered. I called the run over. Bitterly disappointed. Sloppy mistakes that were avoidable. Being hydrated, simple. Weet-Bix before running, that's inviting a stitch to strike for me. Running in the middle of the day while dehydrated, asking for trouble. My heart rate only dropped 15 beats in the minute after stopping, my worst ever, and I didn't sweat. I usually will pour out like a shower. I must have been severely dehydrated and bordering on heat exhaustion. Despite my mistakes in preparation, probably lucky I had the wisdom to stop when I did. Very annoyed though that I had blown my 33-kilometre run. It's now a mental hurdle, not completing the full 33 kilometres today. Last week only completing 25 kilometres out of 30, even though I ran the goal time. No 2 long runs the 2 weeks before that. I have one chance left next Sunday before I taper. Talk about putting pressure on myself. There's so much that goes into a training run. It's not just a matter of putting on the shoes and getting out the door. You do have to think ahead. And for example, today, this morning, in my Mission 231 training, I ran 3 hours, which included 2 by 20 minute steady state intervals, so at a faster pace. And I know I'm down for 4 hours tomorrow. So the moment that run finishes this morning, the focus goes towards tomorrow and what I need to do to make sure that I am hydrated, I'm fueled, so I can attempt that 4 hours tomorrow in the best possible way. And then obviously after tomorrow's run, again, recovery begins ahead of the week that's coming. If you neglect the preparation and the recovery, things don't go to plan, as shown in that run right there, only a few weeks out from the marathon. Friday the 18th of October. Only 1 mile remains in my New York Mile dedications. I think it's going to raise around $500, which will put me close to $13,000 in total. Something I'm very proud of. On the training front, a bit frustrated. I've had no time for weights all this week, and I missed my 10-kilometer run today. My pack arrived from Travelling Fit today. It includes a New York Marathon singlet with the Southern Cross, the Statue of Liberty on the front. The pack also contained confirmation of our flights, my bus pass to the start, as well as info on a training run in Central Park. All very exciting. 1 week to go, the final week. With only 2 days at home before we leave on Tuesday to fly out Wednesday, it was full-on hectic. I enjoyed a 5.5 kilometer PT session on the Tuesday before we left town, and that gave the legs a run before the flight. Tuesday morning was full-on hectic with so many loose ends to tidy up before departure. And to compound it, I was working as well with both PT sessions, gym and classes. Mal came to the rescue though, running the gym and classes for me. So many people dropped in to wish me luck in the marathon. As I keep saying, all the support we continue to receive is overwhelming. Over 12 months ago, we established a window display that read, "Running for the hearts of locals." That's exactly what the New York Marathon is. Yes, I'm running it. But I'm not running it for me. I'm running it for all the people who have supported the journey for whatever reason. I'm running for those people who have suffered or are suffering from heart disease. I'm running for all those who know someone who is or who has been affected by heart disease. I'm running for the Heart Foundation, and I'm running for my family and friends who have supported my cause. When I think of all these people, I feel pressure on my shoulders. So many people I don't want to let down or disappoint. I think of all the races I've done over the years, and I would trade them all in just to be able to complete the New York Marathon. I'm not too fussed with my time. Sure, to PB would be fantastic, but this race isn't about me and my times. My job is to get from the start to the finish line. I just want to cross that finish line in Central Park. The hectic morning in Portland continued throughout the day as we rushed towards Bathurst, leaving late to get Monique to her exam on time. While she was in her exam, the kids and I grabbed some last-minute items from down the street and met up with Mum and Dad, who had travelled across to Bathurst to say farewell. From Monique's exam, we then rushed to Lithgow to catch our train to Sydney. Our friends had kindly met us at the station to take our car back to Portland. Our marathon day continued with us having to catch a City Rail bus from Lithgow to Mount Victoria, then switching to the train. Finally, on the train, we could breathe easier. Our journey, our holiday, had begun. We spent the night at Ridges at Sydney Airport. And that is the lead up, everyone, to my New York Marathon experience. And next weekend, a week away from now, when New York celebrate their 50th running of the New York Marathon, I'm going to share my recap of my race in New York. Very special race and blew my wildest dreams, and a race I'm very proud of. And as I say over and over again, if it wasn't for New York and the marathon and what I did for the Heart Foundation back then, that opportunity, I wouldn't be where I am today. It grew me as a person, it grew me as a runner, put belief in myself and in my running and what I'm able to achieve in terms of fundraising as well, and made me realise just how important the Heart Foundation cause is to my heart. So that is our recap of the preparation. And there's so many similarities to training or preparing for New York to what I'm going through now with the Sonder Monster and Mission 231. The big one that I think I pull out from it, the number one noticeable one, is the juggling, trying to fit it all in. As I spoke about earlier, the business, family, my immediate family, my extended family, friends, and then training, fundraising, the list goes on. That's definitely the one, and obviously maybe it's on a bigger scale this time. Needing to get more training in, but it's the lessons I've learned in my training from previous years, particularly in New York, training for that because it meant so much that you don't want to stuff it up, that I'm able to implement into my training these days for Mission 231. Because again, when I do the Sonder Monster next year, I don't want to stuff it up. I want to finish. I don't want to be a non-finisher, so I've got to make sure I'm at the best of my ability to get the job done. Training's been really good. Really, I've been tired this week. Had a big week last week. 90 around the 95 kilometers mark and around 2,500 meters elevation. That week concluded with a 2-hour run on the Saturday, followed by a 5-hour day-night run on the Sunday, which was really good, went really well. But I found it really hard to sleep that night afterwards. We finished the run after 9 o'clock at night, came home, had dinner, showered, went to bed. But the body was still pumping, obviously, so I probably should have, in hindsight, should have taken more time to unwind, to stretch, to relax, and I might have got a better night's sleep. That lack of sleep on that night, on the Sunday night, affected the week that went on, which was a busy week. As we come out of COVID restrictions and that, I have face-to-face personal training returning, having that all happening at the same time. And some bigger training sessions in midweek too made it a tiring week. And I actually missed the run, let it go on Thursday. Again, just to give my body a chance to recover and have that day off. And it made a big difference. You wouldn't think one day could make such a difference, but it did. And then I was back into it yesterday with an hour run on the trails, just a nice, comfortable pace. And then, as I said, today or this morning, out early with Craig for a 3-hour run, and then backing up tomorrow with a 4-hour long run. So feeling really good, body's feeling really strong, and looking ahead, just trying to plan the direction from here. It's important that with the training, you don't peak early. You don't want to be at your best in April. You want to be at your best in middle of May when you're heading to Alice Springs for the event. So just making sure of that, and looking ahead and trying to plan that at the moment. And obviously there'll be another rest sort of period in there of a week or two. And hopefully we can time that into around the Christmas period, when life is pretty hectic for everyone. On the fundraising front, going well. As I said, we've sold 6 or 7 kilometre dedications. Really want to see them start to sell. We've got 231 of them to sell, or about 224 now. So please head to the fundraising page if you want to grab yourself a kilometre for a loved one. $50 for the kilometre. That $50 goes to the Heart Foundation, and that kilometre I will run for your loved one, your chosen one, in May next year when I do the event. It's a big part. It makes up 50% of the fundraising target if we can get all those kilometres sold. There's posts on social media, Instagram and Facebook. Please feel free to share it to your stories, to your Facebook feed. The more people that see it, the more we can sell the kilometres. The more people I can run for. Imagine running 231 people out there in the Australian Outback. That would mean the world to me, to be able to run for 231 people as I suffer through those 231 kilometres. So share it around between family and friends. Send messages if you need to, if they're not on social media. We're going to have hopefully some sign-in sheet or sign-up sheets in some local businesses in the Portland, New South Wales district and surrounding communities. So keep an eye out for them. And so we can reach as many people as we can. So anyone who would like to have a kilometre dedicated to someone can have that opportunity. We also have the 231 walking and the 231 skipping challenges still happening. You can join them at any time. They're $20 to enter, and you can do that through the fundraising page. All the details are below. And again, that $20 goes to the Heart Foundation. And keep an eye out again on the socials and in the shop windows for a couple of new fundraising events that are starting in the next week or two as well. Everyone, we're going to sign off there. It's been a massive episode of Running with Heart for our episode number 20. I can't believe we've done 20 episodes already. Make sure you subscribe too if you're on YouTube or Spotify so you don't miss when an episode drops. But we've done the big double episode this week so we can get that lead in right into New York back in 2013 as I said, the city gets prepared to celebrate their 50th running of the marathon next weekend. Everyone, thank you for listening. Have a great week. Get outside, be active, look after your heart, look after your health, and remember, whatever you do, make sure you're always running with heart.